Hello and welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today is January 14th, 2026. If you have been following the trajectory of interstellar object 3I Atlas, you know that we are no longer looking at a standard celestial event. We are looking at a mystery that is deepening by the hour. Over the last 24 hours, a flood of new data has come in from independent observatories and major astronomical networks alike. What we are seeing is frankly baffling. We are not just talking about a comet getting brighter or dimming as it moves away from the sun. We are talking about a fundamental shift in morphology that defies our standard models of cometary evaporation. The object is changing shape. It is pulsing with activity, and the latest images from January 12th and 13th reveal a structure that looks less like a dirty snowball and more like something alive with energy. Before we unravel this spiderweb of data, if you want to stay ahead of these rapid developments, because this story is changing literally overnight, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We are tracking this in real time, and you do not want to miss the analysis of the Hubble data coming in the next few days. Let's look closer at the data. The headline today is the spider anomaly. When we look at comets, we typically expect a coma, that fuzzy envelope of gas and dust, and a tail usually streaming away from the sun, driven by solar wind and radiation pressure. It is a passive process. The sun heats the ice sublimates, and the dust gets pushed back. Simple, predictable. But 3I Atlas is refusing to play by these rules. The freshest images processed late last night show a tail structure that has fragmented into what astronomers are calling a spider-like morphology. Instead of a single sweeping fan of dust, we are seeing short, narrow jets diverging in multiple directions. It looks like the legs of a spider extending from the central nucleus. This contradicts what we previously thought about the stability of this object. We assumed that as it moved past perihelion, the outgassing would stabilize into a steady stream. Instead, we are seeing chaotic episodic outbursts. These jets are not static. They are not like a faucet that has been left running. They are flashing. They appear suddenly, shoot out material with immense velocity, change direction, weaken, and then disappear only to reappear in a different sector of the coma. This is high-frequency temporal variability. It suggests that the surface of the nucleus is not sublimating evenly. It implies that there are specific active regions, vents if you will, that are triggering explosively and then shutting down. Imagine a pressure cooker where the valve doesn't just hiss steadily but pops open violently at random intervals, spinning the pot as it does so. That is the kind of dynamic instability we are witnessing. The jets are even being observed directed toward the sun, which is highly atypical. Solar radiation pressure should be overwhelming these emissions, pushing them back. The fact that these jets can punch upstream against the solar wind suggests they are being ejected with significant force. This isn't just evaporation, this is propulsion. The coma itself is demonstrating behavior that is equally puzzling. We are seeing what looks like cyclone-like turbulent motion. The gas and dust envelope isn't just expanding outward in a sphere, it is swirling. This could be caused by the rapid rotation of the nucleus or evidence of uneven heating creating massive thermal differentials on the surface. But there is another possibility: structural stresses. If the nucleus is not a solid block of ice, but a loose agglomeration of rock and exotic ices, or perhaps something with a rigid crust and a volatile interior, these stresses could be causing the surface to fracture, releasing these spider legs of gas in violent bursts. The activity assessment as of January 14th is off the charts. We are seeing a gas component that is incredibly high relative to the dust. But the composition is where it gets strange. We are detecting elevated nickel content compared to iron, unlike anything in our solar system. Comets usually have a specific ratio of these metals. 3I Atlas is breaking that ratio. Why is there so much nickel? Is it exposed on the surface? Is it being dredged up from the core? Or is the entire object made of something different than the primordial soup of our own solar system? The morphological stability is currently rated as low, which is scientific politeness for this thing is falling apart or transforming right in front of us. As we move our attention from the chaotic coma to the tail structure, we find something that shouldn't be there at all: the anti-tail. Unlike the flickering jets, this feature is behaving with a disturbing kind of persistence. It is not just a trick of perspective, it is a physical structure, a swarm that is pointing in a direction that makes astronomers very uncomfortable. Usually, an anti-tail is an optical illusion occurring when Earth crosses the orbital plane of a comet. But for 3I Atlas, the geometry doesn't quite add up to a simple illusion anymore. The latest data describes this feature not as a passive trail of dust, but as a swarm of unknown objects arranged in a droplet shape. Avi Loeb has emphasized that after perihelion, the anti-tail didn't behave like a standard dust trail. It rotated and flipped its orientation while maintaining integrity. This insensitivity to solar radiation is a massive red flag. It implies the particles are large and heavy, pebbles, boulders, or chunks of refractory material. The description of a swarm is deliberate. It suggests a collection of discrete bodies moving in formation rather than a continuous fluid. As of today, the comet is 270 million kilometers from Earth, moving at 63.7 kilometers/s. Due to the orbital geometry, this swarm may be directed toward Earth by January 19th. Don't panic. This doesn't mean a collision, but it does mean we are going to be looking right down the barrel of this structure. So what does this actually mean for the flip? The flip indicates that the orientation of this swarm is tied to the orbital dynamics of the main body in a rigid way. It is moving like a rigid extension of the nucleus rather than a loose trail of smoke. This adds to the multitude of anomalies noted by Loeb. He points out that if this were a natural process, we should see a smooth transition. Instead, we see sharp discontinuities. The anti-tail is currently the strongest evidence we have that 3I Atlas is a solid, dense object capable of shedding large debris fields that maintain cohesion over millions of kilometers. The anomalies don't stop at the physical structure. We are seeing high-energy interactions that shouldn't be happening, specifically X-ray emissions. Comets are cold, they do not typically emit X-rays on their own. While charge exchange with the solar wind can cause this, the intensity from 3I Atlas suggests a volume of gas production that rivals much larger comets. Furthermore, the object has turned green. This is the specific signature of diatomic carbon, C2. Before perihelion, it had a reddish hue, the color of organic tholins and old age in the outer solar system. The shift to green is a sign of unmasking. The heat of the sun has vaporized the outer red crust, exposing the fresh, volatile heart of the object. The spectral analysis is also picking up methanol, hydrogen cyanide, and carbon dioxide. Mixing these deep-freeze volatiles with high-temperature metals like nickel suggests a marble cake internal structure. This unusual composition might explain the spider jets. Pockets of highly volatile gas trapped inside a matrix of rock and nickel would explode like pressure bombs when heated. This creates the asymmetric drive we are seeing. The comet is essentially a natural rocket with a stuck throttle and a wobbly nozzle. The latest data from January 14th shows that its non-gravitational accelerations, NGA, are significantly exceeding the norms across the A1, A2, and A3 parameters. The organized asymmetry is the key phrase here. Usually, jets point toward the sun. Here, they diverge. This implies that the internal cracks dictate where the gas goes, not the solar heat. Despite the massive torque these jets must provide, the nucleus remains strangely stable. It hasn't disintegrated into a rubble pile. This resilience suggests the nucleus is monolithic. As we look at the orbital updates, we have to consider the cosmic verdict. Is this just a statistical outlier, or is it something else? NASA maintains it is a natural, albeit exotic, object. Avi Loeb argues that we are ignoring the data by dismissing these organized, non-random behaviors. We are watching a paradigm shift in real time. Whether 3I Atlas is a natural exotic rock or an interstellar artifact, it teaches us that our catalog of the universe is incomplete. The coming days are critical. The Hubble Space Telescope is scheduled to image the comet, providing resolution that will show if the spider is truly jets or something else. We will see the individual components of the swarm. The X-RISM satellite will analyze the X-ray spectrum to tell us exactly what elements are being ionized. If Hubble shows a swarm of metallic debris, the artificiality debate will explode. By September 2026, 3I Atlas will be a ghost in the darkness, but right now it is the most interesting object in the sky. My verdict: 3I Atlas is a messenger. It is telling us that comet is a label that might be too small for the reality of what is out there. It is a spider, a swarm, a chemical engine, and a mystery all wrapped in one. We will be here to cover the Hubble data the moment it drops. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please hit that like button. It helps others find this analysis. Keep watching the skies. The universe is speaking, and we are finally learning how to listen.